Because what we're really afraid of is how something's going to make us feel. And if we know that we can handle whatever comes up, then we can handle anything. And imagine what you could accomplish in your life, in your relationship, in, just the other dynamics around you if you didn't fear any emotions. We expect a lot from our partners. We expect a lot in our society now. And I think we're trying to figure it out because we used to be very disconnected, it seems like, right? I didn't live then, but from what I've heard, we relied on each other for very different things. And now we are relying on each other for more emotional needs, which is beautiful. And there's so much potential for that. But it's also important that you're not taking that one step too far and asking someone else to do the work for you.
Yes.
To hold you when you're actually meant to hold yourself. When you're actually meant to tap into what piece of me is truly hurting right now. Because everything that we experience in relationship, for the most part, especially when we're unhealed, is a projection. We're not actually meeting that person in the present moment and meeting them for who they are in that moment. We're meeting them for who we think they are. And that's based on our past experiences.
Yes.
So when you're able to understand yourself and when you're able to have that relationship with yourself, you can determine, is this truly them or is this me? Is this something that I need to explore on my own, or is this something that I want to include them in? And that's what allows us to still have a sense of independence in a relationship and have that healthy dynamic between, okay, how much do I rely on this person, right? You can share your experience. Sharing is much different than relying on somebody, right? Having someone who can hold space for you to just talk about it is very different than going, I feel horrible about this and horrible about that, and just laying it all on them to fix it for you, or even blaming them, right? A lot of the times we think we're unhappy because of our relationship, but really we're unhappy because we're unhappy.
Yes. I've also found, and from my own experience, the attempt to love myself through someone else instead of finding that self-love. And again, that's like relying on someone else versus taking it within. So the very first commitment that I made to Austin was, I will never place on you that I have to love myself through you.
Oh, I love that.
That's not your responsibility. My responsibility is that I be strong enough in my own self-love, and you are strong enough in your own self-love, that we're two holes that just join together like a supernova, right? And create a supernova of love, because we're so bright together.
Yeah.
But we're not codependent. We're just light together that light each other up. And it's been an amazing connection because of that. Because neither of us just dominate the other, or feel like my love only exists if you love me, or I'll love you if you do this. It's just love all the time. It's just love. And it just creates a different dynamic. And it sounds like that's what you help these individuals get to.
Yes, absolutely. And, it's not always comfortable work, but it's so worth it, because on the other side of it is freedom. When you're able to identify and be able to sit with any uncomfortable emotion, you can do anything. You're not afraid of anything anymore, because what we're really afraid of is how something's going to make us feel. And if we know that we can handle whatever comes up, then we can handle anything. And imagine what you could accomplish in your life, in your relationship, in, just the other dynamics around you if you didn't fear any emotions. If you could handle and actually be grateful for loneliness, for anxiety, for sadness, for embarrassment, for even shame, then imagine what you could do. I mean, there would be no fear.
Yes. Is there any part of this that helps these individuals begin to understand that emotions are information?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that is every time someone gets, or one of my clients gets triggered in dating, I ask them, what is this meant to teach you? right? This is meant to teach you something. So ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me right now? And so it's about identifying what that is. And I don't know is a very easy answer that we like to give, right? So if you say, I don't know, that just means that you need to sometimes sit with it and allow that answer to come to you when it's the right time, but not to distract from it, right? I also think it's really important we don't use dating as a distraction. It can be another form of actually external validation, right? If we are getting a lot of validation, I call it shiny object syndrome.
Uh-huh.
And online dating makes it very easy to have shiny object syndrome because you meet someone, it seems great, you get all the validation and that great feeling, and then all of a sudden you start noticing, to go back to, a movie reference, like in Shallow Hal, the big toe, right? Like, but her toe is weird, right? What about her toe? Maybe I should just go back out there and find someone with a better toe with the rest of her. And, of course, that's a very superficial reason, but, we do find interesting things that are quote unquote wrong with our partners in order to not reach a new level of intimacy with them. And instead go back out into the dating world and get that same validation, because what's familiar is what feels safe. And if we feel safer dating and not truly seeing ourselves or other people in relationship, then we can create a whole bunch of self-sabotage and havoc for us to be able to just go back out there and do it again. And especially if you are the type of person who has fun dating, who gets dates easily, it can be very tempting to do that as soon as you see any sign of adversity or discomfort in the relationship. But there's always going to be a level of that at some point in time. You're dealing with another human being.
Yeah.
And, you're either growing together or you're not. And you get to make that decision of what that looks like for you two to grow together.
Yeah. But as you point out, it has to start with that conscious connection with self.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't do any of this without connecting to yourself. I think I posted on Instagram a few weeks ago, to connect with a woman, you have to first connect with yourself. Because if you don't know how to connect with yourself, then it's going to be very confusing to try to connect with somebody else. So you're going to reject parts of them that remind you of parts of you or anybody else in your past who it reminds you of, instead of receiving them in their truth and being in the present moment in that relationship.